to Washington.
You believe in miracles? Yes!
Okay, hello everyone and welcome to the first ever NHL segment in M2M Entertainment. My name is Colin Kapoor, I'll be playing, and I am joined by two probably sad Bruins fans, Jack Sinclair and Molly McGovern. How are you guys doing today?
Not great.
Yeah.
Definitely been better.
Yeah, so we'll just start off with that Bruins game. Last night, as we're recording last night, the Bruins lost 6-2 in the elimination game against the Islanders. They did not. They showed up pretty well early in the series. They got unlucky in a couple of the early games, but I think they definitely got outplayed in this game. We'll start with Molly. What do you think? I'll just ask what happened. Right.
All right. Well, first off, I think that the series, like the game, like the whole series changing part was when Carlo went down. I mean, I feel like he was doing a good job of shutting down Barzal, and when he went down, I noticed Barzal started to, like, the next 3 games he scored or had a point. He had some sort of streak. So for me, like, I think that's probably one of the biggest factors in the Bruins series. It also like hurt the PK a lot. Not gonna say it's all on Carlo being hurt and put like one injury on the whole series. Obviously, they didn't finish on a lot of their scoring opportunities. I'm talking about that Pastrnak wide open miss. I think that's also kind of a series changer. It definitely was a changed the momentum in that game, and I don't know. I mean, overall, like you said, I think the first couple games were close. I think game 2 Lauzon made a turnover, an error, and it led to the overtime winning goal, and that was a close game, and then the next one was close, but then after that, it seemed kind of just like Bruins weren't finishing all their chances, and the Islanders were getting all the bounces, and I don't know. And also, I'm not gonna sit here and complain about the refs, but I kind of be crazy not to. There were definitely some questionable calls and missed calls, and I'm not saying that every call against the Bruins was like BS, but I think it's more so kind of what Cassidy was saying is that stuff that they were calling on the Bruins, they weren't calling on the Islanders. And especially game, I don't know which one it was, so we lost in 6. So game 5, yeah. Like Bruins had all the momentum in the first period. And then it's just like that call on Crowley. And then next thing you know, it's like 1-1. And it just feels like the life got sucked out of them. And then they come back and then it's like another goal. And then there's a missed call on Craig Smith and then the Islanders score. So I don't know. I mean, I think there's just a lot of factors that play into it, but I'm not going to sit here and act like the Islanders didn't outplay them this last game. But I'm also
Yeah, definitely. And the Islanders, one of their main things is just making just frustrating teams to the brink. They obviously did that coming into this game with Cassidy's talking about the officiating ended up getting fined $25,000, which I think is kind of ridiculous. When players can only get fined $5,000 for like trying to end careers and stuff like that, but that's a whole different thing. But the Islanders, like their main thing is being able to frustrate teams and being able to force good teams to make mistakes. And obviously the Bruins came into this game frustrated and they played like they were being outplayed the entire game. And I think the second period also where Brock Nelson scored twice and Kyle Palmieri also scored. And you know the Bruins didn't look too bad. They had scoring opportunities. Varlamov was very good in net for the Islanders, and you know the game just got away from them. Jack, what do you have anything to add? What do you think about how the entire series went down and how Game 6 went down?
I mean, Game 6, I thought it was just the culmination of the Islanders absolutely beating on the Bruins through 5 games. The Brandon Carlo injury, I agree, Molly, was absolutely the turning point in the series. He was locking down Barzal like it was his job because it was actually his job. And the Bruins don't have the defensive depth, especially after they traded Chara away, to really have somebody else step up and do that same thing to that level of Carlo. I mean, we don't really have any other stay-at-home defenseman other than him. And then McAvoy goes down for 8 minutes in that first period of Game 6, and that completely turns that game on its head. You know, I think another thing that maybe you didn't mention, Molly, is Tuukka Rask. Throughout this series, it was revealed to us that he was playing hurt to the point where it's questionable as to whether or not he'll need surgery. So that obviously affects your goalie a ton. I mean, having a hurt goalie is not good. It takes the head out of the game, and it's such a mental position that you need to have somebody who's got 100% going on. And so I kind of question the start for him in game 6, knowing that he's hurt going into that game. You know, Swayman has proven that he can handle NHL caliber stuff. I mean, I was fortunate enough to see him play in college, and I thought that he was absolutely ready for the NHL whenever he was on Maine. This guy is absolutely the next thing for the Bruins and should be. But I question that decision by Cassidy. And in terms of, you know, administration for the team, it's hot seat time for Cam Neely and Don Sweeney, excuse me. I mean, they were handed one of the best cores in the NHL 6 years ago, and they have not done anything with it. I mean, they've failed to put good pieces around Krejci, Bergeron, Marchand, and Rask. I mean, inexcusable, honestly. McAvoy was good, sure. Grzelcyk is fine. Carlos decent, and Pastrnak obviously was a hit. But other than that, it's been massive strikeouts. The 2015 draft will haunt the Bruins for decades.
Yeah, and going on from that to the offseason, what do you think the Bruins should do at goaltender? Obviously, we saw Jeremy Swayman come in and play really well at the tail end of this season. And Tuukka Rask obviously was the guy in the playoffs who ended up, you know, he was playing hurt, but he did end up giving up, he gave up a lot of goals, and you don't want to do that as a goaltender, obviously. So what do you guys think about the goaltending situation going into the offseason, and how do you think they should look next season?
Well, for me, I don't know. Like, I agree. So I think Swayman has 100% proven himself. And I think it honestly comes down to, like, I mean, I don't know if Rask is going to stay. I don't really know what his deal is with his, like, contract or where he's at, like, with this injury. We haven't really heard too much about it. But if he thinks he can play and if he's healthy, I still think Rask is a good goalie. You know, I think people give him a lot of, like, crap and stuff. And I think especially a regular season goalie. And I think it'd be good for Swayman to, like, be a full-time backup for a season before we throw him in as a starter. Because, I mean, I think now Halak's completely out of the picture. I think Swayman's just going to be officially the backup now. So I think that, like, we should stay with Rask if that's possible. I mean, but at the same time, I mean, if we get rid of Rask, I mean, wouldn't that clear up space? And I think we need to do something about the bottom 6 or, like, even the defense. I mean, I know this is kind of like going away from Rask, which I'll let, like, Jack talk about after a little bit more. But I mean, I think it was, like, so frustrating to watch the third line do, like, absolutely nothing. Like, Jake DeBrusk was such a letdown this year. And even Sean Corrali was kind of pissing me off these past couple games. I mean, he had a couple turnovers, and whether that should have been a penalty or not, like, I feel like he's always in the box. So, I mean, I'm concerned about the goaltending situation, but I'm also concerned about the bottom 6. Because, I mean, the Bruins can't only rely on their first line and sometimes the second, because the second line was even, like, kind of quiet these past couple games too. So, I mean, that's just where my head's at, like, after watching this series, because, I mean, I felt like we got nothing from the bottom 6.
That's been my main gripe with this Bruins team the whole year, is that there's no bottom 6 production. Trent Frederic, I liked a lot. I thought he could have been a useful addition for this playoff roster in terms of just his edge. He's not a good scorer. He's not good on the puck, but he's such a good antagonist that it's something that this Bruins team needed. Basically, just a bad Lucic is kind of what Trent Frederic could have been. And I think that would have worked out for the Bruins. He would have done more than Sean Corrali, who I think deserves a one-way ticket to the sun. I mean, he's been absolutely useless for the past 3 months. He scored one big goal. I think it was against maybe the Caps, Colin, and to put him ahead in the regular season. And all the Bruins are like, that's why we have Sean Corrali. And I just feel like people forget the fact that he's an absolute traffic cone on the back check, and he has absolutely no intelligence. I mean, that guy just dumps the puck in like it's, I don't know. He's just, Oh my God, Sean Corrali was making me really mad this series. You're right. The bottom six was just ineffective. I mean, you got to trade Jake DeBrusk ASAP. That's probably number one on the list for, if it's Sweeney, then it's number one on his list. You got to get rid of him. 3.6 million cap hit for 20 points. I mean, Jesus, that's just so bad. And you got to try to get some value out of him. I think him and Halak could go together. As in terms of Rask, the ball's in his court. I mean, it's up to him if he wants to retire with this injury. I can understand that. He's had a great career. If he wants to stick on with it and come back after injury, I also think that he would have to take a team-friendly contract because, you got to think that the cap is going to be a little bit concerning here, especially with the expansion draft. That's something else the Bees have to contend with. Who are they going to lose, in that? So there's just so many factors for them to consider this offseason that there needs to be. I think that Rask needs to re-sign just to have some level of consistency on the roster.
Yeah, definitely. And I think just getting rid of Rask and letting Swayman take over, there's obviously risks to that. I mean, look at Carter Hart with the Flyers. Sometimes young guys just don't end up panning out the way that they should, or playing the way that they did, when they kind of were forced into the role. And I mean, for Boston, every year there's going to be the conversation, is it their last run or was that their last run? And it seems like every year they're just back in the postseason and doing what they need to do. But obviously they do need to make some moves, as was shown by the way they kind of fell apart late in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And going away from the Bruins and into the other action in the playoffs, so far the Lightning have beaten the Hurricanes in round 2, and they are slated to face the Islanders in round 3. And the Canadiens, the surprise of the playoffs in my opinion, have rolled off 7 straight wins and swept the Jets after coming back from 3-1 in the series against the Maple Leafs. And so now they're awaiting the winner of the Avalanche Vegas series. See, I'm rocking my Vegas shirt here, even though I kind of want the Avalanche to win tonight. As the day we're recording, they are playing at 9 Eastern. I kind of want the Avs to win just so it gets to a Game 7. Those games are always exciting. But any thoughts on any of the other playoff action that's gone on? Nazem Kadri's 8-game suspension was upheld. He will be eligible to play in a Game 7 if the Avs win tonight, which would be interesting. But any other thoughts on what's been going on around the league?
Yeah, I mean, the Avs Golden Knights series has been sneaky great. I kind of thought the Avs were going to run away with it after they took the Game 2. I think it was 7-1 or something like that. But after Vegas kind of came back into that one a little bit, they showed that edge that the Islanders kind of did in terms of their hits. So they showed that they're an older, bigger, physical team, and they kind of took it to the Avs a little bit. And the Avs are a fast team, so they need to sort things out with that. They need to figure out how they can get their offense to go again against the Vegas, who seem to kind of figure out their physicality.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really been paying too close attention to the Avs Night series. I paid a lot of attention to the Habs Leafs series solely because I just do not like the Leafs, and I enjoyed watching that. But I kind of from the beginning, I'm not gonna say when the Leafs were up 3-1, I didn't think that they were gonna win. I mean, I thought they were gonna win the series, but at the beginning, I had a feeling that the Habs could pull it off solely because it was the Leafs. And also, I mean, I felt like the Leafs were sneaky. I'm sorry. The Habs. I'm getting them mixed up. The Habs were sneaky good. I mean, I'm impressed by Cole Caulfield. I know that's a basic thing to say, but it's been fun to watch him in the short time I watched him. I watched him a lot when I was watching the World Juniors this year and stuff. And so, I mean, I think that they're a fun team to watch. And obviously I'm not rooting for them anymore because I don't like them, but I'm glad they were able to get the Leafs out. That's pretty much I don't really watch anything other than the Bruins except rooting for the teams I hate to lose. So the Blues, watching them lose in the first round was also just another priority of mine, but no thoughts really on I can't really tell you much about the series except I kind of am curious here. What do you guys think about the whole Scheifele hit What were your opinions?
Yeah, I think that hit. I mean, it looked to me like he skated across the ice just to lay that hit. I don't know if you guys have any other opinions about that, but I think it was there. I think he said there wasn't like intent there, but I think just he skated across the entirety of the ring to lay that hit down. So I think Jets ended up getting just eviscerated in the playoffs anyway. So maybe that's the punishment that they deserve. But yeah, I don't know. I think that it was not a kosher hit at all, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, that's kind of like, well, that's kind of my thing. Like, I agree. It was like definitely worth like the suspension. I think he definitely had an intent to like, he was frustrated. I don't think he wanted to like put him in the hospital, but I definitely do think his intent was to injure. But I mean, like, do you think that like was like the biggest factor in that series? Like, do you think that's what did the Jets over? Or do you think they would have, do you think that if he hadn't done that, the series would have been different? Do you think that was like what put the like edge, gave Montreal the edge in the series, like in terms of like motivation and just the Jets losing Shifley in general?
Yeah, I think the Canadians, the way they played to beat the Leafs, I think they were just on a run, to be honest. And I think the one team that may be able to stop the run would be the Avs or the Knights, right? Like that would be the team to stop the Habs, who are just on a ridiculous run right now.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I hate the Habs, as any good Bruins fan should, I mean, you got to admire what they've done. They got hot at the right time, and it's been something to watch. I mean, they absolutely steamrolled the Jets. I didn't expect that to happen whatsoever. I thought the Jets, were at least going to win a game. But, hey, that happens sometime. Whenever a team gets hot, they get hot. And I wouldn't say the Jets were that hot. I just think they ran into an ice cold Oilers team to win that series. But hey, what can you do?
So that is going to do it for this first segment of NHL content on M2M Entertainment. I am Colin Kapoor, joined by Jack Sinclair and Monty McGovern. Thank you for joining me here. And you know what? As we go forward in the Stanley Cup playoffs, you'll be seeing a lot more of us. So thank you for watching, and we'll catch you next time.
If you like this video, please consider subscribing to our channel, the M2M Network, for more sports and entertainment content.